June stood alone on the hill, watching smoke rise from what used to be his home. The last human settlement on Earth was now just ashes and broken dreams. His dirty face showed no emotion, but his eyes burned with a fire that would not die. 3 days ago, the Nexus ships had come again. Their weapons lit up the night sky before raining death on the small colony of 200 people. June had been out hunting when it happened. He came back to find everything gone. Preventative measures, the aliens called it. Humans were Deathworlders, too dangerous to let live. Earth was a harsh planet with high gravity, deadly animals, and extreme weather. The aliens feared what such a world created. Humans who could endure pain, heal quickly, and fight hard. June dropped to his knees beside a fresh grave. The small mound of dirt was the last of many he had dug with his bare hands. Under it lay Hannah, his wife of 5 years. Next to her grave was an even smaller one. Their son, only 3 years old. "I will make them pay," he whispered. His voice was rough from breathing smoke and from 3 days of crying. With nothing left to lose, June walked down the hill to gather supplies. The aliens had taken or destroyed most things, but June knew where to look. Under the ruins of the meeting hall, he found the emergency supplies. Some food, water, tools, and medicine. Not much, but enough. As the sun set, June saw something glint in the distance. Curious, he walked toward it, his hand on his knife. Hidden in a crater was a small ship, an alien scout vessel. It must have crashed during the attack. The ship was damaged but not destroyed. Its sleek metal body was dented and scratched, but June could tell it might still work. He approached carefully, looking for any sign of the pilot. Near the open door lay a body. It was not human. Its skin was blue and scaled, with 6 fingers on each hand. A Nexus scout, now dead from the crash. June felt no pity. He dragged the body away and entered the ship. Inside, it was strange. The seats were the wrong shape, the controls made for hands larger than his. But June had always been good with machines. For 7 days, June worked on the ship. He used parts from the colony's generators and his own knowledge to fix what he could. The ship's computer still worked, showing star maps and alien writing that June struggled to understand. On the 8th day, the ship's engines hummed to life. A weak sound, but enough. June went back to the graves one last time. He placed a stone on each one and stood silent for a long minute. "I will not forget," he said. Then he walked away without looking back. Inside the ship, June strapped himself into the pilot's seat. It was uncomfortable, made for an alien body. But that didn't matter. Nothing mattered except what came next. He studied the controls, pressing buttons until screens lit up. The ship's computer spoke in an alien language, but June ignored it. As the ship rose shakily into the air, June looked down at Earth, the beautiful Deathworld that had created humans. It was dying now, poisoned by alien weapons. Few animals remained, few plants grew. The oceans were turning dark. "They will learn," June said as the ship pushed through the clouds. "They will learn what it means to anger a Deathworlder." The ship broke free of Earth's gravity. On the screen, June saw a map of stars. One star was marked in red, a trading station called Vectis, where many alien species gathered. June set the course. As Earth faded to a blue dot behind him, he felt something harden inside his chest. It wasn't just anger, it was purpose. The universe had laughed at humans, calling them dangerous Deathworlders. Soon, the universe would understand why. The stolen scout ship shook as it approached Vectis Station. June gripped the controls tightly, his knuckles white. He had spent 2 weeks in space learning how to fly the alien craft. The ship's computer taught him some basic words in the Nexus language. Enough to get by, maybe. Vectis Station hung in space like a giant metal flower. Its center was a thick hub with 5 long arms reaching out. Ships of all sizes moved around it, coming and going. "Identify yourself," came a voice through the ship's speaker. The words were in the Nexus language, but the ship's computer translated them. Jun hesitated. Then he pressed the button to respond. "Scout ship returning from patrol," he said, repeating words he had practiced. There was a pause. Then, "Proceed to Dock 7. Jun guided the ship toward the station. His heart beat fast. Would they know he was human? Would they shoot him down? He didn't know, but he had to try. The ship docked at a small bay. Jun put on the dead alien's clothes and helmet. They were too big, but they might hide that he was human. He checked his stolen knife and walked to the door. The air in the station smelled strange, like metal and spices. Jun stepped out carefully. 2 aliens stood nearby. They had long necks and beaks like birds, with feathers covering their bodies. They looked at the ship but paid little attention to Jun. He walked quickly, keeping his head down. The halls of Vectis Station were filled with aliens of many kinds. Some looked like giant insects, others like walking plants. None looked like humans. Jun found a quiet corner and removed his helmet to breathe better. Just then, he heard a gasp. "By the stars, you're a human." Jun turned quickly, drawing his knife. An alien stood there, one of the bird-like ones. This one was smaller, with blue and green feathers. It held up its hands to show it meant no harm. "Please, don't be afraid. I won't tell anyone," the alien said in perfect human language. "My name is Minji. I'm a scientist. I study stories of extinct species." "Humans aren't extinct," Jun said coldly. "Not yet." Minji's eyes widened. "But the records say Earth was." Oh no." She seemed to understand. "The Nexus Council. They did it, didn't they? They destroyed your world." Jun didn't answer. He looked at her with suspicion. "How do you know human language?" "From old transmissions. I've studied them for years," Minji said. "Humans fascinate me. You evolved on a Deathworld but created art and music. You fought wars but also built hospitals." She looked around nervously. "You can't stay here dressed like that. Someone will notice. Come with me." Against his better judgment, Jun followed. Minji led him through back hallways to a small room filled with strange objects. It was her research lab. "Most species here have never seen a human," she explained. "They think you're just stories. Dangerous myths from a deadly planet." "Why should I trust you?" Jun asked. Minji tilted her head. "Because I can help you. And because I've always thought the Nexus was wrong about humans." She picked up a small device. "This is a translator. Better than your ship's computer." She gave it to Jun. "The Nexus Council ordered your planet destroyed because they fear you. Human adaptability terrifies them. Your bodies heal fast. Your minds learn quickly. Your emotions drive you to do impossible things." Jun took the translator. "I need to find the ones who gave the order. The ones who killed my family." Minji's feathers drooped. "That won't be easy. But first, you need to understand this place." She brought up a map on a screen. Vectis Station has many levels. The lower ones are dangerous but good for hiding. "I don't want to hide," Jun said. "No," Minji replied, studying his face. "I can see that. You're planning something else." She seemed worried but also curious. "Whatever it is, you'll need help. And information." Jun stared at her. Could he trust this alien who seemed so interested in humans? He had no choice. "Tell me everything about the Nexus Council," he said, "and where I can find weapons." Minji led Jun through narrow passages that few used. They went down many levels until the clean halls of Upper Vectis became dirty and dark. Here, the air smelled bad and the lights flickered. "The station's underworld," Minji whispered. "Security doesn't come here much. Neither do most regular people." Jun nodded. He felt more comfortable here than above. It reminded him of the tough parts of human cities from long ago. They stopped at a door covered in strange marks. Minji knocked 3 times, paused, then twice more. The door opened a crack. "What do you want?" Bird, a rough voice asked. To see Ta. I have something interesting for him, Minji replied. Eyes looked out from the crack, then moved to June. They widened. Come in. Quick. Inside was a large room filled with weapons, parts, and strange devices. The walls were metal, and the only light came from blue lamps in the corners. 3 aliens stood watching them. 2 were tall with 4 arms each. The third was shorter, with gray skin that looked like rock. This is Ta, Minji said, pointing to the rock-skinned alien. Ta walked around June, looking him up and down. A human, he said in a gravelly voice. I thought your kind was wiped out. Not all of us, Jun said. Ta laughed. I can see that. He picked up a weapon from a table. You know weapons? Some, Jun replied. Ta handed him the gun. It was heavy and strange in Jun's hands, but he figured out how to hold it. You're looking for work, information, revenge? Ta asked. All 3, Jun said. Ta nodded. I might have use for you. Most people here have never seen a human. They've only heard stories about how tough you are, how you can survive things that would kill others. He grinned, showing stone-like teeth. Is it true? June thought about Earth, about the harsh weather and dangerous animals, about the wars humans had fought, about everything his people had survived before the Nexus came. Yes, he said simply. Good. Ta pointed to his 2 4-armed guards. These 2 need to deliver a package to level 3. There might be trouble. Go with them. Keep them safe. Come back alive, and we'll talk more. Minji looked worried. June, you don't have to. I'll do it, June interrupted. The job was simple but dangerous. They had to carry a box to a client. But another gang wanted the box. In a dark corridor, 6 aliens attacked them. They had knives and small guns. June moved faster than anyone expected. On Earth's higher gravity, he had grown strong. Here, he felt light, quick. He broke one attacker's arm, took his knife, and fought like a man possessed. The 4 armed guards were good fighters too. Together, they beat all 6 attackers. But not before one shot hit June in the shoulder. You're hurt, one guard said when it was over. June looked at his wound. It burned, but he'd had worse. I'm fine. Let's finish the job. When they returned, Tai was impressed. The guards told him how June had fought, how he barely noticed his injury. They shot you? Tai asked, looking at June's shoulder. June shrugged. The wound was already starting to heal. Human bodies healed faster than most aliens. Interesting, Ta said. He opened a cabinet and took out a small device. Information you wanted. This might help. He handed it to June. Security codes for Nexus databases, not the highest level, but a start. And this, he added, giving June a better gun than the one he'd used earlier. Payment for good work. Later, in Minji's lab, they looked at the files from the database. There might be other humans alive, Minji said excitedly, pointing to a file. Look, reports of possible human activity in the outer systems. June felt something he hadn't felt since Earth. Hope. But to get there, you'll need a better ship, Minji said. And more information about the Nexus Council. She paused. There's one way to get both. How? June asked. The gladiator pits, Minji said quietly, where fighters from all species battle. The winners get fame, money, and access to powerful people. June nodded slowly. Then that's where I need to go next. The gladiator pits were deep in Vectis Station's lowest level. June could hear the roars of the crowd before he saw the place. The sounds echoed through the metal halls. Are you sure about this? Minji asked nervously. Her feathers were flat against her body, a sign of fear. Yes, Jun said. He checked the small knife hidden in his boot. It was all he was allowed to bring. They reached a large door guarded by 2 massive aliens with skin like blue rubber. They looked at June with 4 eyes each. New fighter. one asked. June nodded. Species. June hesitated, then said, human. The guards looked at each other, then laughed. Human? From Earth? That Deathworld. One shook his head. You're too small to be a Deathworlder. Let him try, the other said. Doyen likes fresh meat in the pits. They opened the door. Inside was a large round room with high walls. In the center was a fighting area covered in sand. Around it were rows of seats filled with aliens of all kinds. They shouted and bet on the fighters below. A fight was ending. A large insect-like creature stood over a fallen opponent, clicking its claws in victory. The crowd cheered. A well-dressed alien approached June. He had purple skin and 6 fingers on each hand. I am Doyen, he said. I run the pits. He looked June up and down. You want to fight? Yes, June said. Humans are extinct, Doyen said with narrowed eyes. Not all of us. Doyen seemed interested now. A real Deathworlder. This could be good business. He smiled, showing pointed teeth. You fight tonight. Win, and you get paid. Lose, he shrugged. Well, most losers don't complain. That night, June stood in a small room waiting for his fight. He had been given light armor that didn't fit well. It was made for a different body shape. Your opponent is a Grak warrior, said an attendant. Twice your size. Very strong. June said nothing. He thought of Earth, of Hana and their son, of all the humans who had died. His anger grew, becoming cold and focused. When they called him, he walked out into the pit. The crowd grew quiet, then began to whisper, a human. I thought they were all dead. This will be quick. His opponent entered from the other side. The Grak was huge, with thick gray skin and arms like tree trunks. It carried a heavy club and roared at the crowd. Begin, shouted Doyen from his special seat above the pit. The Grak charged at June, swinging its club. It was strong but slow. June dodged easily, moving faster than the alien expected. On Earth's higher gravity, humans learn to be quick. The Grak swung again and again. Each time, June moved just enough to avoid being hit. The crowd began to cheer each dodge. The Grak grew tired and angry. Its swings became wilder. June waited for his moment, then darted in close. He couldn't match the alien's strength, but he didn't need to. He struck at weak spots, joints, eyes, the soft area under its jaw. Each hit was precise and effective. The Grak roared in pain and surprise. It had never fought something so fast, so willing to take risks, something that seemed to know exactly where to strike. In less than 5 minutes, the giant Grak was on its knees. June stood behind it, his arm around its thick neck in a chokehold. The crowd was silent in shock. The Grak tapped the ground 3 times, surrendering. June let go and stepped back. The crowd exploded in cheers and shouts. Doyen stood up, his eyes wide. The winner, the human. Later, in Doyen's private room, June collected his payment. It was more than he expected. You fight well for such a small creature, Doyen said. The crowd loved you. They want to see more. He leaned forward. I'll pay double for your next fight. I want information too, June said, about the Nexus Council. Doyen raised an eyebrow. Dangerous knowledge. But he smiled. Win 3 more fights, and maybe I can help with that. As June left with Minji, he heard people whispering a new name for him. The Deathwalker. 3 weeks passed. June won fight after fight in the pits, no matter what Doyen threw at him. Bigger aliens, poisonous ones, even a fighter with 6 arms. June found a way to win. His body was covered in new scars, but he didn't care. The Deathwalker was now the most famous fighter in the pits. Aliens came from all parts of Vectis Station to see the human fight. Some even came from other stations. After his 7th win, Doyen called him to a private room. You've made me rich, Doyen said, offering June a drink in a metal cup. And you've earned what you asked for. He handed June a small data chip. Information about the Nexus Council. Names, locations, security details. June took the chip. Thank you. Be careful, Doyen warned. You're getting too famous. I've heard whispers that Nexus agents are looking for a human on the station. Later, in Minji's lab, they looked at the data from the chip. This is big, Minji said. Really big. The names of all the council members who voted to destroy Earth. She pointed at one name. And look, the head of the council, Elder Rim, will visit Vectis next month. June's eyes hardened. This was his chance. But as they left the lab, 3 aliens in dark uniforms stepped in front of them. Nexus security forces. Stop right there, one said. It pulled out a scanner and pointed it at June. Species identification. Human, you're coming with us. June reached for his hidden knife, but before he could move, one of the officers suddenly fell forward. Behind him stood another Nexus officer, but this one had just knocked out his fellow guard. Run, the officer shouted. They've called for backup. Confused but quick to act, June knocked out the second guard, while Minji used a stun device on the third. The friendly officer waved them forward. This way. I have a ship ready. They ran through the station, dodging more security forces. The officer led them to a small dock where a sleek ship waited. Once inside and safely away from the station, the officer removed his helmet. He had smooth skin with faint blue markings. My name is Sunwoo, he said. I'm part of a secret group within the Nexus who oppose the Council's actions. June kept his distance, suspicious. Why help me? Sunwoo's face showed sadness, because what happened to Earth was wrong. The Council claimed humans were dangerous, but the real danger comes from the Archons. Archons? Minji asked. An ancient species, Sunwoo explained. They control the Council from the shadows. They ordered Earth's destruction because they fear humans. Why would they fear us? June asked. Because you adapt, Sunwoo said. Physically, mentally, socially, humans change faster than any species the Archons have encountered. They see you as the only threat to their power. June thought about this. Where are we going? My homeworld, Sunwoo said. A desert planet far from Nexus control. We have a small resistance there, people who want to stop the Archons. 3 days later, they arrived at Sunwoo's planet. It was hot and dry, with 3 suns in the sky. In a hidden base built into a mountain, Jun met other rebels, aliens from different species who had learned the truth about the Archons. We've been gathering information, Sunwoo said, showing them a large map of the galaxy. And we found something you should see. He pointed to a small cluster of stars, strange signals, using very old human codes. Jun's heart beat faster. Other survivors. We think so, Sunwoo said. A hidden colony, maybe more than one. That night, Jun stood outside, looking at the unfamiliar stars. For the first time since leaving Earth, he felt something like hope. He wasn't alone. There were other humans out there. And now he had allies. Minji joined him, her feathers glowing softly in the moonlight. What will you do? She asked. Find my people, Jun said, then make the Archons pay for what they did. We'll help, Minji promised. All of us. Jun nodded. The universe had tried to wipe out humanity. But now, a Deathworlder with nothing left to lose had found new purpose. And new friends. Sunwoo's ship cut through space, following the strange signals. Jun stood by the window, watching stars flash by. It had been 2 weeks since they left the desert planet. 2 weeks of hope and worry. We're getting close, Sunwoo said from the pilot's seat. The signals are stronger now. Minji worked at a computer, her feathers ruffled with excitement. The code is definitely human. Old Earth military style. They entered an asteroid field. Huge rocks floated all around them. Sunwoo carefully guided the ship between them. Perfect hiding place, he said. Scanners don't work well here. Too much metal in the asteroids. Suddenly, 6 small ships appeared from behind a large asteroid. They surrounded Sun Wu's ship, weapons ready. A voice came through the speaker. "Unknown vessel. Stop now or be destroyed." The voice spoke in human language, English. June rushed to the speaker. "I'm human. From Earth. We come in peace." There was a long silence. Then, "If you're human, prove it. What was the first animal sent to space by humans?" June thought back to the history lessons from his childhood. "A dog. Her name was Leica." Another pause. Then, "Approach slowly. Any wrong move and we fire." The 6 ships led them to the largest asteroid. As they got closer, June saw that it wasn't just a rock. It was a base, a human colony hidden inside the asteroid. They docked in a small bay. When they stepped out, 20 humans in uniforms pointed weapons at them. A tall woman with short gray hair stepped forward. "I'm Commander Hyun," she said. Her eyes were hard, her face lined with years of stress. "Who are you and how did you find us?" June told his story about Earth's destruction, his escape, the fights in the pits, and learning about the Archons. Commander Hyun listened quietly. When he finished, she nodded to her soldiers to lower their weapons. "We've been here for 15 years, she said. "When the Nexus first attacked Earth, some of us escaped. We've been hiding, building our strength." She looked at Minji and Sunwoo with suspicion. "These aliens are with you." "They're friends," Jun said firmly. "They helped me." Commander Hyun seemed doubtful, but nodded. "Come, I'll show you our home." The inside of the asteroid was amazing. What looked like a rock from outside was a full colony inside. Nearly 3,000 humans lived there. They had farms growing food under special lights, schools for children, and workshops building weapons and ships. "We're not the only colony," Commander Hyun said as they walked. "There are 5 others that we know of. We stay in touch through coded messages." In a large room filled with maps and computers, she showed them her plan. "We've been preparing for years, building weapons, training soldiers. Soon we'll be ready to strike back." She pointed to a map showing key Nexus bases. "We'll hit them hard. Make them pay for what they did to Earth." June looked at the plans. It was a good strategy for attack. But something troubled him. "These are civilian areas," he said, pointing to several targets. "Necessary targets," Commander Hyun said coldly. "The Nexus didn't care about our civilians when they bombed Earth. But if we kill their civilians, how are we any different from them?" June asked. Commander Hyun's face hardened. "We're survivors, doing what we must. This is war." Later, in the room they were given, June talked with Minji and Sunwoo. "Her plan will work," Sunwoo admitted, "but it will also prove the Nexus right about humans being dangerous." "There has to be another way," Minji said. "Something that exposes the Archons without killing innocent people." June was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "There is. We don't attack Nexus bases." He looked at them with determination in his eyes. "We go to the source. We infiltrate the Archon homeworld." Minji gasped. "That's impossible. No one knows where it is." "I do," Sunwoo said quietly. "It's the most guarded secret in the Nexus. But as an officer, I had access to the coordinates." "Then that's where we need to go," Jun said. "Not to destroy, but to expose the truth." Commander Hyun was not happy with Jun's plan. "It's suicide," she said, her voice sharp with anger. "The Archon homeworld has the best defenses in the galaxy. That's why they won't expect us," Jun replied calmly. After much argument, Commander Hyun finally agreed. She gave them a small, fast ship and some weapons. 4 days later, Jun, Minji, and Sunwoo left the asteroid colony. Their plan was simple but dangerous. Sunwoo would use his Nexus officer codes to get them past the outer security. Then they would pose as a scientific team bringing research to the Archons. "The Archons love new knowledge," Sunwoo explained. "They collect it from all over the galaxy." Minji nodded. I've prepared real scientific data about rare star formations. It should interest them enough to let us land. June spent the journey learning everything he could about the Archons. They were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. They looked almost human, but with pale skin, large eyes, and 6 fingers on each hand. They had ruled from the shadows for thousands of years. They're not physically strong, Sunwoo said, but their minds are powerful, and their technology is far advanced. After a week of travel, they reached the Archon system. Their ship approached a beautiful blue-green planet surrounded by rings. Sending identification now, Sunwoo said as they neared the planet. He transmitted his Nexus codes along with their cover story. There was a tense silence. Then a voice responded. Proceed to landing pad 17, scientific delegation. They had passed the first test. The ship landed on a floating platform high above the planet's surface. Below them stretched a vast city of crystal towers and curved bridges. Guards met them at the landing pad. Tall aliens in shining armor. They searched the visitors and their ship, but found nothing suspicious. June had hidden their real weapons inside Minji's scientific equipment. Follow us, one guard said. The first circle will examine your research. They were taken to a huge building made of blue crystal. Inside, everything was designed for beings with different bodies than humans. The doors were too tall, the steps too wide. It made June feel small. In a large room filled with strange machines, 3 Archons waited. They wore long silver robes and had thin faces with large pale eyes. Welcome, one said in a soft voice. We are the first circle of knowledge. You bring us data on star formations. Minji stepped forward and presented her research. The Archons seemed pleased. They invited the visitors to stay and share more knowledge. For 2 days, they were treated as honored guests. They were given rooms in a tower and allowed to move around certain areas. All the while, they carefully watched and listened, gathering information. On the 3rd day, Sunwoo found what they needed: a path to the central archives where the Archons kept their most important records. That night, when most Archons were resting, the 3 made their move. Using Sunwoo's knowledge of security systems, they slipped past guards and entered the archives. The room was enormous, filled with glowing data crystals. Each crystal held thousands of years of information. We need to find records about Earth and the Nexus Council, June whispered. They split up to search. June moved carefully between the tall shelves of crystals. His human eyes could see better in the dim light than most species, another gift from his Deathworld. Suddenly, he heard a soft sound. He turned quickly, ready to fight. But it was too late. A beam of light hit him, freezing his body. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. Fascinating, said a calm voice. A real human in our archives. An Archon stepped from the shadows. He was older than the others they had met, with eyes that seemed to look through June. I am Elder Shim, the Archon said, and you are far from your destroyed world, Deathworlder. Guards appeared, capturing Minji and Sunwoo as well. Did you really think we wouldn't notice a human on our planet? Elder Shim asked. We've been watching you since you landed. He stepped closer to June. Now let's see what secrets you're hiding in that adaptable mind of yours. June woke up in a small room with clear walls. A cell, but one he could see out of. Beyond the walls were machines and screens where Archons in white robes worked. They were studying him. His friends were in similar cells nearby. Minji looked tired but unhurt. Sunwoo was still unconscious. Elder Shim entered the room. He walked slowly to June's cell and pressed a button. The front wall disappeared. Come, he said. We have much to discuss. Guards watched carefully as June followed Elder Shim to a large round room with a view of the Crystal City. The elder sat in a floating chair and pointed to a normal chair for June. Do you know why we destroyed your world? Elder Shim asked. Because you feared us, June replied. Elder Shim nodded. Yes, but not for the reasons you think. He touched a control on his chair. A screen appeared in the air between them, showing images of Earth. "Your kind evolved on a world that should have killed you," the elder said. "High gravity, radiation, extreme weather, countless diseases, dangerous animals. By all logic, intelligent life should not have survived there." The screen showed humans throughout history, building, fighting, creating, exploring. "Yet not only did you survive," Elder Shim continued, "you thrived. You adapted. When faced with problems, humans change. You alter your bodies, your minds, your societies, faster than any species we have ever seen." June watched the images. He felt pride in what humans had accomplished, mixed with sadness for what was lost. "We Arkans have guided the galaxy for 50,000 years, Elder Shim said. "We decide which species rises, which falls. We control the Nexus Council completely. They are our puppets." "And you ordered them to destroy Earth," Jun said, his voice hard. "We had no choice," Elder Shim replied. "In 100 years, humans went from simple flight to space travel. In 200, you would have spread throughout the galaxy. In 500, your adaptability would have made you the dominant species." He looked directly at June. "You were the only real threat to us we have ever faced." June thought of Hana and their son, of all the billions who had died. His hands tightened into fists. "We didn't even know you existed," he said. "We weren't a threat." "Your existence was the threat," Elder Shim answered. "Just by being what you are. Creatures shaped by a death world, always changing, always adapting." As they talked, Jun noticed something. The elder enjoyed explaining things. He was proud of the Arkan's control over the galaxy, and he didn't see Jun as a real danger anymore, just the last of a problem that had been solved. Jun remembered what Minji had taught him about the Arkan's communication systems. Every room in their buildings was connected to central networks. Everything said here was probably being recorded. He had an idea. "So you've manipulated other species too?" Jun asked. "Not just the attack on Earth?" Elder Shim smiled. "Of course. For thousands of years, we've guided the galaxy's history. When species grow too powerful, we arrange conflicts between them. When discoveries might threaten our control, we make sure they're forgotten." As the elder talked, enjoying his chance to boast to a defeated enemy, Jun carefully pressed the hidden device in his pocket, the one Minji had given him before they landed. It connected to the Archon network and began broadcasting this conversation to all Nexus communication channels. "And the Nexus Council never suspected?" Jun asked, keeping the elder talking. "They believe they rule the galaxy," Elder Shim laughed. "They never question why their decisions always align with our suggestions. They think the destruction of Earth was their idea to protect the galaxy. They never knew we simply feared your kind's potential." Across the galaxy, thousands of communication devices were receiving this confession. On ships, stations, and planets, beings of all species were hearing the truth. Elder Shim suddenly stopped talking. A light was blinking on his chair. "What have you done?" he asked, his calm face now showing worry. "What humans do best," Jun said. "I adapted to the situation." Alarms began to sound throughout the Crystal City. Chaos erupted across the galaxy as Elder Shim's confession spread. On hundreds of worlds, beings who had trusted the Nexus Council now learned the truth. The Arkans had controlled everything from the shadows for thousands of years. On the Archon homeworld, guards rushed into the room where Jun and Elder Shim sat. "The broadcasts must be stopped," Elder Shim shouted. "Lock down all communications." But it was too late. The truth was out. Jun was taken back to his cell. Through the clear walls, he could see Arkans rushing about in panic. Screens showed ships approaching the planet. Nexus vessels demanding answers. "You've started a war," Elder Shim said when he came to Jun's cell that night. The elder looked older now, his confidence gone. "No," Jun replied. "I've ended one. The war you started against my people." Hours passed. Then alarms sounded again. Explosions shook the building. Someone was attacking. Suddenly, the power went out. In the darkness, Jung heard the cell door slide open. A familiar voice whispered, "This way." It was Sunwoo. He had escaped during the confusion and freed Minji too. Together, they ran through dark hallways. "What's happening?" June asked as they hid from running guards. "Rebellion," Sunwoo said. "Your broadcast reached everyone. The Nexus Council has turned against the Archons. And they're not alone." They made it to a small ship bay where a surprise waited. Commander Hyun and a team of human soldiers. "Couldn't let you have all the fun," she said with a rare smile. "When we heard your broadcast, we launched immediately." They weren't the only ones. Ships from many species had come to confront the Archons. For the first time in thousands of years, the puppet masters faced justice. As they prepared to leave, Jun stopped. "There's something I need to do first." He found Elder Shim in a hidden room, preparing to escape. The Elder reached for a weapon, but Jun was faster, knocking it away. "Go ahead," Elder Shim said bitterly. "Kill me. Prove we were right about humans being violent." Jun picked up the weapon. He thought of Earth, of Hana and their son, of all he had lost. His finger tightened on the trigger. Then he lowered the gun. "No," Jun said. "That's what you would do. That's what you've done for thousands of years. Eliminate threats, manipulate others, rule through fear." He stepped back. "Humans are better than that. We don't just adapt to survive. We adapt to improve." He activated his communicator so everyone could hear. "I don't want revenge," Jun announced. "I want justice. The Archons will help rebuild what they destroyed. They will share their knowledge with all species, and they will learn to live as equals, not rulers." Many were surprised by Jun's mercy. Some wanted harsher punishment, but in the end, most agreed with the human from the Deathworld. 1 year later, Jun stood on a hill on Earth. The planet was still damaged, but it was healing. Ships from across the galaxy brought help. New plants, clean water, technology to remove poisons from the soil. Minji stood beside him, watching human children play with young aliens in a new settlement below. Sunwoo was there too, helping coordinate rebuilding efforts. "The first meeting of the Galactic Alliance starts tomorrow," Minji reminded him. "As Earth's representative, you should prepare." Jun nodded. The Alliance was new, a council where all species had equal voice. No more shadow control, no more fear of dangerous species. "Do you miss it?" Sunwoo asked quietly. "The fighting, the revenge." Jun thought about it. For so long, vengeance had driven him. Now he had something better. "No," he said. "That was a different person, someone with nothing left to lose." He looked at the new Earth coming to life around him. "Now I have everything to gain." As the three suns set, Jun walked down the hill toward the settlement. Behind him, flowers were growing on the graves of Hana and their son, Earth plants, stubborn and beautiful. The universe had laughed at the Deathworld and its people. Now it learned from them instead. The end.